The stadium fell silent. Not the respectful silence of a tennis crowd awaiting a serve, but the hollow silence of emptiness. The silence of thousands of empty seats where just days before, a sea of Philippine flags had waved proudly. The silence of a tournament that had lost its beating heart. When Alex Eala walked off the court in Toronto after her defeat to Belinda Bencic, she didn't just take her racket with her. She took the soul of the National Bank Open. The numbers told a devastating story. Approximately 3,100 tickets sold within 30 minutes of Eala's match being announced. A frenzy that tournament director Karl Hale called unprecedented for a player ranked outside the top 5. A sold-out crowd of 10,000 packed Sobeys Stadium for her matches. A tournament that had found its voice, its energy, its reason for being. And then she was gone. Now, the tournament continues. But the question haunting every tennis fan is no longer who will win. It's something far more troubling. Without Alex Eala, will anyone even care? Without the roar of the Filipino crowd, without the flags, without the electric atmosphere that transformed a tennis tournament into a celebration of community and national pride, what is left? This is not just a story about tennis. This is a story about what happens when a phenomenon walks away, when a star that lit up the tournament fades, when the fans who turned a sport into a movement are left with nothing but empty seats and shattered dreams. Welcome to Rally Nova. Let's begin. To understand the emptiness, we must first understand what Alex Eala brought to Toronto. It wasn't just tennis. It was a movement, a celebration, a cultural phenomenon that the National Bank Open had never seen before. The moment Eala's second-round match was announced, tickets vanished. In just 30 minutes, seats sold out, and an additional 3,100 tickets were snapped up for that session alone. Tournament director Karl Hale, a veteran of the tennis world, admitted he had never seen a player ranked outside the top 5 have this type of effect. Sobeys Stadium transformed. Where once there were polite tennis spectators, now there was a sea of Philippine flags, banners, and fans draped in the country's colors. The 10,000-plus capacity crowd turned the tournament into what felt like a home match for the 21-year-old Filipina. The energy was so intense that Canadian play-by-play commentator Mark Petchey compared it to the atmosphere of a Grand Slam victory. But it wasn't just the numbers. It was the noise, the passion, the unapologetic celebration of a community finally seeing one of their own on the biggest stage. Diane Castillo, a traveling Filipino journalist and former tennis player, described it as a super, wild Filipino crowd. The loudest I have ever heard. It felt like it was in the Philippines. Incredible. And the community showed up in ways that went beyond the stadium. One vendor changed its chicken teriyaki to a Filipino chicken adobo rice bowl in Eala's honor. Fans designed custom t-shirts with slogans like Fight, Believe, Represent. Rosemary Ami Seaborn, a member of the Filipino community, noted, "The one thing about Alex that everybody's proud about is that she acknowledges being Filipino in every event. She will correct your question and say, 'I think what you should ask me is if I'm proud of being Filipino and being here.'" She has embraced it. Even the food offerings were getting into the Eala spirit. "She's being branded as the next Manny Pacquiao," said Danilo Baluyat, executive director of Toronto's Taste of Manila event. "Because she's young and she has a lot of attention, she has this charm to the community. We follow and we support." Many Filipino fans attending the tournament hadn't been to a tennis match before. They were bringing the celebratory energy of basketball and volleyball, sports deeply embedded in Filipino culture. For them, cheering wasn't disrespect, it was love. It was community. It was showing up for one of their own on the world stage. Eala herself understood the phenomenon. "You can see, I'm kind of like a drop in the ocean when it comes to Filipinos and their pride for their culture and where they come from," she explained. "I do a lot to kind of represent my country, and I'm very proud of it. But you see, the stadium was full of people who do the same thing, right? So, I guess that just shows you what kind of a community we are and what kind of people we are and how supportive we are of each other." One thing was certain. Alex Eala had brought something to Toronto that no ranking or trophy could measure. And when she left, she took it all with her. When Alex Eala fell to Belinda Bencic in the round of 16, the tournament didn't just lose a player. It lost its identity. The match itself was a brutal display of fatigue meeting experience. Bencic, the 2021 Olympic champion, dismantled Eala 6-4, 6-0 in just 73 minutes. The Filipina, who had been running on fumes after 7 consecutive matches across 2 weeks, simply couldn't keep up. Her tank was empty. Her body, having survived a painful ankle roll against Katie McNally in the previous round, had finally given out. Eala admitted that she was unable to pull herself out of a difficult emotional state once the match began slipping away. The exhaustion from consecutive matches and the ankle injury she sustained in the previous round appeared to have caught up with her as the defeat snapped her 7-match winning streak. "I knew it was the last time that I was going to be out on that court for a while," Eala said after the match. At the end of the match, she gazed at the crowd, waved, picked up her bags, and walked toward the exit one last time. The fans gave her a roaring ovation, and Eala turned to march backwards and waved a few more times before finally walking off center court. But the defeat was more than a sporting loss. It was a turning point. The Eala party, which had turned Sobeys Stadium into a celebration of Filipino pride, came to an abrupt end. The flags that had draped the stands were folded. The chants that had echoed through the arena fell silent. The heart of the tournament had stopped beating. Belinda Bencic, who had silenced the roaring Filipino crowd, was gracious in victory. "I know most of you guys were cheering for Alex, but I still have to say it was very nice for me to play in front of you all. Thank you so much for the great crowd tonight," Bencic said in the post-game interview. But the graciousness couldn't hide the reality. The tournament had lost its biggest draw. The fans who had transformed the event into a cultural celebration were left with empty seats and shattered hopes. The energy that had made the tournament must-see was gone. A debate erupted online about whether the Canadian Open had lost its crowd after Eala's exit. Some users argued that fans should support the sport as a whole rather than only a particular athlete, while others defended Eala's supporters, saying it's the fans who are bringing in the money. The discussion also highlighted the broader impact of Eala's breakthrough season, noting that her growing popularity presents an opportunity to introduce more Filipinos to tennis. The tournament without Eala felt hollow. The excitement had waned. The narrative had shifted from celebration to disappointment. And the question that haunted everyone was this tournament ever about tennis? Or was it all about Alex Eala? Despite the crushing defeat, Alex Eala left Toronto with her head held high. She made sure she did not leave center court without recognizing the supporters who carried her through another memorable week. After the loss, Eala delivered a heartfelt message in Tagalog to the Filipino fans who turned her Toronto debut into a homecoming more than 8,000 miles from Manila. Maraming salamat, mga kababayan. Eala began before thanking her compatriots for supporting her in Toronto and during her title run in Washington. "Thank you so much, my fellow Filipinos, for everything you did for me this week here in Toronto, in Washington, and for everything you always do for me," Eala said, translated into English. "You're always supporting me, always praying for me, and always staying up late, so I'll continue working hard. Thank you." Her acknowledgement of fans staying awake carried particular meaning. Eala's North American matches often begin late at night or early in the morning in the Philippines, but that has not stopped supporters from following her rapid ascent. "The atmosphere this whole week has been just incredible," Eala said. "It's hard to describe to other people kind of the feeling of being in that stadium full of course, the fans and all the love. I'm super grateful for the experiences that I've had here in Toronto. It's been an amazing debut. I'll carry these memories with me for a really long time." Eala also took a moment to reflect on the broader meaning of her Toronto run. She refused to frame the celebration of Filipino identity as something driven by her alone. "I'm kind of just like a drop in the ocean, when it comes to Filipinos and their pride for their culture and where they come from," Eala said. "I do a lot to kind of represent my country, and I'm very proud of it. But you see, the stadium was full of people who do the same thing, right? So I guess that just shows you what kind of a community we are and what kind of people we are and how supportive we are of each other." The fans responded with a standing ovation as Eala walked off the court. They knew that this loss was just a temporary setback. They knew that the giant killer would be back. The empty feeling in Toronto is not just about one tournament. It is a sign of something much bigger. Alex Eala represents a shift in the sport, a move toward greater diversity and a new generation of fans. For years, tennis was dominated by European and American players. The sport was exclusive, traditional, and resistant to change. Eala has changed that. She has brought a new audience to tennis, one that is passionate, vocal, and deeply connected to her journey. As the CBC noted, Eala's popularity signals a shift in tennis that many have long called for: more diversity. The top-ranked players are concentrated in North America and Europe, while Asia has had few players break through the top ranks, and the Philippines, a country of 100 million people, has never produced a tennis star before. But that audience comes with expectations. They expect to see her play. They expect to see her win. And when she doesn't, they may not stay. The tennis establishment must adapt. It must embrace the energy of new fans. It must accommodate the cultural differences that come with a more diverse audience. It must find ways to sustain interest beyond the stars who attract crowds. Because players like Eala are not just athletes. They're movements. And when the movement ends, the sport must find a way to carry on. Tournament director Karl Hale acknowledged the phenomenon, noting that we've never seen a player ranked outside the top 5 have this type of effect. The challenge for tennis is how to sustain that excitement beyond the presence of one player. The scenes in Toronto, the packed stadiums, the deafening chants, the sea of flags, were a manifestation of a community that had finally found a hero. And when she lost, the dream faded. The question now is whether tennis can build on that energy and create a lasting legacy. The Eala effect is real. It is a movement that has transformed tennis in ways that no one anticipated. Filipino fans are bringing a new energy to the sport, one that is passionate, vocal, and deeply connected to their culture. As one community leader said, "Right now, Alex is our Biani," which basically means our national hero. What you're all witnessing is what we have as the Filipino community. The loss in Toronto was a bitter pill. But for Alex Eala, it is not the end. It is an opportunity to learn, to improve, and to come back stronger. Eala's summer was nothing short of spectacular. She won her first WTA title in Washington, defeating a gauntlet of Grand Slam champions. She reached the 4th round of Wimbledon. She climbed to world number 20, and she became the biggest draw in women's tennis. But that success came at a great cost. Now, Eala plans to take 1 or 2 days away from tennis before traveling to Cincinnati. I definitely will take maybe 2 days off, a day or two. I do have to travel to Cincinnati. I need to get a haircut. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. My nails are grown out. So, yeah, I'll do a couple things just to get my mind off tennis, Eala said during her post-match press conference. The short break will also give Eala an opportunity to recover from the minor injury scare during her 3rd round win over McNally, when she tweaked her right ankle in the 2nd set. "Yeah, I will reunite, maybe with some friends in Cincinnati, and just try to have fun," she said. "I'll be back on court snaps fingers like that, so I got to enjoy what I have. I got to enjoy the time that I have that I'm not on court." Despite the loss, Eala's message to the fans who pray, stay awake, and follow her around the world was clear. She intends to keep working. "I'm super happy with the run that I've had," she said. "I'm going to try to recover and come back out hot." The backlash against the finals without Eala is a testament to her impact. She didn't just play tennis. She transformed it. And whether the finals thrive or fail without her, her legacy is already secure.